This is my type of product. Small, lightweight, and pretty dang sporty. Now, some would call this a scooter and others would call it a bike. And you know what? They'd both be right. This is the world's first scooter bike, or as I like to say, skoo-ike, or biooter. Biooter. That seems to roll off the tongue a little bit better. Welcome to the biooter. Right now it's set up to be a scooter, a seated scooter, because it has the foot pegs. But if you hop on the Voro Motors, you can buy the pedal kit, and then it's a bike. But I would recommend leaving it as a scooter because it's very small. And if you're pedaling, your knee is gonna hit you in the face every time you come up. Not really, but it's just a ways up here. So I would suggest just leaving it as a scooter. It's a beautiful thing, just don't touch it. Just leave it as is. Now, the official name is the Emove Road Runner V3, and it costs $1,700. This is actually the updated version to the V2, which I reviewed about a year ago. So to start off the review, I want to talk about the differences between the two. Well, first off, you have more power, which gives you a faster speed and a faster acceleration. There's a 500-watt motor in the front and then one in the rear. There's 3 speed modes, 1, 2, and 3. And then on the throttle, you have 2 buttons. This is the single motor and this is the dual motor. And I like how that's a rocket. And the acceleration is no joke. You don't think something like this would be that fast off the line, but you would be mistaken. Yeah! Oh, that is faster than the V2. Yeah. Now, as far as top speed, the V2 was topping out at 32. This one is topping out at 34. 2 miles per hour doesn't seem like a lot, but it is with something this small. And it actually feels really stable going that fast. The next thing they upgraded was the battery size. So with the V2, the range on that was about 25 miles. With this one, it's 30 miles, so you have 5 miles more. And the battery is removable. You can take this out with 2 keys. And this is a 48 volt, 1,123 watt hour battery. Now, the only thing I don't like about this battery is that it takes 9 hours to charge this up. And that is the same with the V2 as well. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with the range. 30 miles for something this small and this fast is pretty good. This next upgrade is small, but I figured I'd tell you about it because it is an upgrade. And that has to deal with the throttle. On the V2, this was smooth. On this one, you got some edges on there. It's riveted. That was a riveting fact, wasn't it? The next major upgrade they did is with the suspension. The V2 just had the front fork hydraulic suspension. Now the V3 has a rear suspension. Look at that. 2 big old springs there with the right amount of pressure. Yeah, you got some pretty good travel there too. One of the biggest complaints that people had about the V2 was that there's no rear suspension. Voro listened and fixed the problem. I would have to agree with the general public. The dual suspension is a must for this. It just makes it an overall better ride. You really can't go wrong with suspension. I've been enjoying my time with the horses and the other animals back there. Hello, horsey. I'm just gonna tell you one more thing while I'm here, and that is the tires. They have upgraded these. They put a thicker tread on that. These are also tubeless, and it's kind of like a hybrid tire. You know, street, off-road, I think you'd be okay with both. And that is a 14 by 2.5 inch tire. And then check out the rims, like this BMX style vibe going on there, which I like. The last thing you guys need to know about the V2, V3 upgrades is that the V2 is not set up for the pedal kit. That is just a V3 thing. So make sure that if you do buy one of these and you want to add pedals, you got to get the V3. Now that I got the comparison part out of the way, I want to talk about the ride and feel. And the first thing I like about it is how quiet it is. If you guys know me, if you watch my videos, you'll know that I like a nice quiet ride. And there's pretty much zero noise coming from the motor. The brakes are the only thing I really didn't like about the ride and the feel. For whatever reason, that front one seems to pulsate a little bit, and there is a little bit of grinding. But they are disc, there's motor cutoff. When you hit either lever, the tail light lights up, and they got pretty good stopping power. They're just not as smooth as I would have liked them to be. Now, if you're a bigger rider, you can still ride this because they've reinforced the frame, so it can fit a rider up to 220 pounds. But they've gone beyond that to say that they reinforced the frame so much that the frame can handle a speed of up to 80 miles per hour. I've checked on the YouTubes a little bit, and people apparently like to modify these things out and just make them go stupid fast. I'm not sure I would dare go 80 miles per hour on this, but apparently the frame is tough enough to where you could. And speaking of the frame, I gotta show you something. Let me grab you. Look at that. They carved out VM in there for Voro Motors. That might be a little bit confusing because on here it says Emove Road Runner V3. Emove is the company that makes that. Voro Motors is the company that sells it. Some more stuff that I liked about the ride and the feel is how wide the handlebars are, which you need because of how fast this is. The wider the stance, the more control you have. Now, the cool thing about these handlebars is they're adjustable. So in the stem, you can push them down or raise them up just by unloosening this bolt. But then they actually fold in pretty cool. So if you push that in, pull this back, unlatch it, they just do that. On their website, they say that this is the most powerful per size vehicle that you can get. I also like the grips. Those are bolted onto the handlebars. They're wing tipped and feel nice. Control pad is also a nicer rubber. You got headlights, turn signals, and a horn. One of my favorite features about this is just the overall handling. It's small, it's powerful, it's low to the ground. So as I was riding in the snow, which I've been doing most of the day today, if I started to slide out, I could just put my foot down, regain my balance, or just hang my feet off as I'm going through a trickier part. I just like that. You got a lower center of gravity, so it's just much easier to control in trickier terrain. Last two things I want to talk about is the hill climbing ability. The other day I took it up a 16% grade. It's about a half a block long. So I started at the bottom without any momentum and it easily made it to the top, which is impressive because the hill rating on this is 17%. And I think it could easily tackle something steeper than what I took it on. And the last thing to tell you is that they say that it can be ridden in light rain. And there it is. The Emove Road Runner V3. If you guys want a different riding experience, this is what I'd recommend. This is just a jam-packed machine. It's got a lot of power for the size, and I love that. If you want to check it out, I've got the link in the description. And as always, I appreciate you guys hopping on here and checking out my content, and I'll see you on the next one.